TikTok completely ruined our attention spans. It's estimated that users spend a grand total of 200 million hours on the app every single day.
Even if you manage to click out of TikTok, there's nowhere to run. Other apps like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and even Spotify have already adopted that formula. No matter where you go, you cannot escape the endless loop of short-form content. The abyss of algorithmic entertainment. An average user opens up the app 8 times per day.
It may seem that there is no escape and that our focus is forever doomed, but in the end, there's still hope.
Bro, did you see all the memes that I sent you yesterday? They were pretty cool.
No, bro, but you need to stop sending me so many memes.
Why was it a big deal?
Every human develops this thing called directed attention. That's their ability to enter a flow state and focus on a task for up to 2 hours. It's super useful for doing high quality work and paying attention to, say, a podcast or a movie. Basically, our brain is allowing us to do up to 2 hours of uninterrupted work. Can you imagine that? I sure can. Oh, a fly. Everyone develops their directed attention up until the age of 25. Short-form content slows us down tremendously and our brains become accustomed to constant change. We feel like we need that dopamine hit in every single area of our life. Basically, everything we do gets linked to entertainment. And if it's not entertaining enough, we are immediately bored. For example, YouTube videos start feeling like documentaries, movies are becoming hard to watch, so Hollywood has to put Subway Surfers gameplay or something, and books are... what even are books?
Over the past few years, I usually used to read about 15 books a year. This year, it's just one book. Can you imagine that? It's the end of May and it's just a single book. Anyway, even if I don't use TikTok personally, I've been watching a lot of Instagram and YouTube shorts, and that has had its effect on my attention span tremendously, not only when it comes to content consumption, but also when I'm doing work.
Context switching is something we all have. Our brain normally goes through the following stages: directed focus, scatter mind, directed focus, scatter mind, and so on. However, the problem kicks in when we talk about the time taken to switch those contexts. Let's say I start using my directed focus on a single task. After 10 minutes, I kind of feel the need to switch context because this task is no longer providing me with the dopamine my brain is used to. So I go out and look out the window. Then I come back to work. Then I go to the window again, and again, and again.
Consumers aren't the only ones who suffer from the TikTok curse. Creators have some issues as well. Subscribe.
There's this one thing I'm not very proud of, is that I used to be a TikToker back when it was all starting, 2019 and 2020. But there's that thing, I kind of went viral pretty easy because it was very easy. It still is very easy to go viral on TikTok. But you kind of get locked into a certain niche. I kind of got locked into the comedy niche. The other big problem is that while, yes, TikTok did implement long-form content, I think they made their videos up to 10 minutes or something, but that's not that great because they didn't change the algorithm. And the algorithm still promotes videos that are 30 to 40 seconds long, which means that they're still keeping you as the viewer and us as the creators in that short-form content loop.
Okay guys, let me get you in a little secret. If you think you can actually earn money while using TikTok or being a content creator at all, you're dead wrong. A lot of the big companies are actually losing money from the short form content. That's insane! Holy crap! My TikTok short just hit 300,000 views! I can't wait to get my money! Wait a minute, what's that?
That is your salary. Whoa, 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 enough negative bits. Time to break the cage. How do we recover our attention span?
One of the common misconceptions is that the mind doesn't enjoy staying focused. That's certainly not true. In fact, it enjoys staying focused just as much as it enjoys being entertained. However, it does prefer entertainment when it's bored. So I ask myself, if the problem stems from boredom, why don't I just embrace it? And that's exactly what I did.
No windows to look out through, no phones, no computers, nobody to talk to.
Alright, so at the beginning, my mind was going all over the place. I was staring at different objects in the room, at the walls, at the door, at the cupboard. My mind was like thinking, hey, I can do this, I can complete this challenge. It sounds so easy, I can keep going. But then I suddenly felt super bored. That's when I started thinking like, can I actually do it? Then at some point I became really frustrated at the boredom and I tried to fight it. Then I stopped fighting the boredom, I laid in bed, I stared at the wall and it clicked. Overall, I started feeling better on my own and I felt like I was embracing my own personality. Then when I felt at the peak of my enlightenment, the door opened and it all came crumbling down. It's quite simple really. Just learn how to tolerate boredom without having to rely on algorithmic entertainment.
Okay, so Paf was supposed to be here about 30 minutes ago. We needed to be filming a video, but he's still not here, so I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna FaceTime him to see what he's up to. Bro, where are you? What are you doing?
Брат, защо ми говориш на английски?
I'm filming something, and that's why I'm speaking in English. What are you doing? Where are you? You're late.
Oh, nothing much. Bro, I'm just scrolling through from TikTok. What about you?
Bro, you know what? Nothing. Change of plans.
What now?
The second way to increase your attention span is by simply converting your screen time into real life time. You can go for a walk, ask your crush out on a date, start taking piano lessons, start painting, heck, maybe even try to read a book for once.
Alright guys, we're currently up in this forest and it started raining.
It's a thunderstorm, man!
It's a thunderstorm. We're going up a pretty steep roll, so I'm trying to look at the camera and at my feet at the same time, so we don't fall. It's so slippery.
Rule number 2, what is it?
Okay, anyways, we're here because I set a goal for myself not to use TikTok for a whole month, and well, it's 2 weeks in and I kind of failed miserably. I'm still kind of actually surprised that I even managed to last 2 weeks, because before I couldn't even... Go!
The car! Run!
Open the door!
Oh my god!
It's not good. It's
I
not okay.
myself!
It's not okay.
There are lightnings!
I swear, a thunder just almost...
Oh my god!
Anyway, I actually managed 2 whole weeks without TikTok thanks to this really cool method called restraint with punishment. You set yourself a goal, and then if you don't complete it within a certain time limit, you also set a punishment for yourself. This punishment can vary from anything like doing something you dislike or getting rid of something you like. And in my case, it was supposed to be getting rid of my phone, but as you can see...
Then we almost fucking died!
So yeah, that pretty much concludes my punishment. I had to get rid of my phone.
Thank you. Yeah. I also had this idea, but couldn't come up with a punishment. But God had a different plan, and that's what happened. That is my drone that got hit by a truck.
What the f***? When did this happen?
Like 3 days ago.
Why didn't you tell me?
Because I wanted to make it a surprise for the video.
It's undeniable that our focus has been diminishing over the past few years.
The average attention span of a human nowadays is 8 seconds. That of a goldfish is 9. Contrary to what you might believe though, long-form content has not only been on the rise, but it is at its current all-time high.
Hollywood movies are getting longer as the average duration has increased with over 35 minutes. Creators want to make longer videos and tell better stories, so they're moving to more rewarding platforms like YouTube. Pretty much every person with an already built audience is making a podcast nowadays. Also, viewers are willing to watch longer videos overall.
What we're trying to see here is that long-form content is not dying by any means. It's instead adopting the catchy methods that short-form content introduced.
That I would say is rather toxic for society because everything seems to turn into an entertainment pumping machine. This in its own makes us lose sight of the little things in life because we're brainwashed into thinking they aren't entertaining anymore.
That's exactly why we need to learn how to tolerate boredom. If you got to this point of the video, congratulations!
While it may not be a 30-minute long documentary, it's still better than a 30-second long meaningless short.
Obviously, there's a lot more work to be done here, but there's one thing that's important. You should stand up for yourself and face the mindless algorithmic entertainment.
Knowing that there's still hope.